Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And I just want to say a few words before we actually jump into this tweet by Craig DeWitt over on Twitter. But we do see something very interesting happening around traditional finance. And one of those big things is the fact that we have been seeing a collapse of the traditional financial world. We have seen banks pretty much go up in flames. We have been starting to notice a big trend happening as well. And that trend is the fact that crypto is defying all odds. We have seen regulators and bankers and all types of entities coming out of the woodwork and saying crypto's a scam, crypto's this, crypto's that. And the narrative ever since January has always been crypto is a fraud. We've seen Jim Cramer, as well as CNBC themselves, come out and say that crypto is basically a fraud and a scam. One thing that I mentioned recently in my JP Morgan video talking about what the hell is JP Morgan even doing, I talked about how Jamie Dimon himself has been fighting back against crypto forever. But the thing that I've noticed is that behind the scenes, we are seeing blockchain technology use cases being built by the banking sector. They are trying to avoid utilizing decentralized crypto, which is obviously, right up their alley. That's what they want. They want to, create their own solutions. That way they don't have to rely on decentralized parties because they want to eat all the food. They don't want to share at all. They are greedy. They want control. They want to be the ones pulling the strings, which is what they have been doing for so long. But to me personally, I don't think that that's going to work. I think that the general public has, for the longest time, and just recently as well, fought back against the traditional system. And I think that that is very, very bullish. And I think that's actually very bullish for crypto as well this year, because I do think that we will start to see a lot more banking collapses happening, which I've mentioned many times on this channel. But we do see here, fractional reserve banking is a confidence game. And it's looking like people are losing confidence again. In 1933, the US government confiscated gold to protect the system. Gold was $29 then. In 2023, the US government is attacking crypto. Bitcoin is 29K today. Now, obviously, I don't think that the US government is going to confiscate Bitcoin, but I do think that it's very interesting how the times have changed. But it seems as though, and I've always said that history rhymes, it doesn't repeat. It seems like history is repeating. And I think this game that the US government is playing on how they are attacking crypto and trying to fight back against crypto, I think it's only a losing game for them. And we do see over here as well from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So I have actually been following a lot of these tweets from Robert Kennedy himself. And I'm actually very interested in his take on cryptocurrencies because it's completely different than what I've seen anywhere else. And we do see cryptocurrencies led by Bitcoin, along with other crypto technologies, are a major innovation engine. It is a mistake for the US government to hobble the industry and drive innovation elsewhere. Biden's proposed 30% tax on cryptocurrency mining is a bad idea. Then we do see here, yes, energy use is a concern, though somewhat overstated, but Bitcoin mining uses about the same as video games and no one is calling for a ban on those. The environmental argument is a selective pretext to suppress anything that threatens elite power structures. Bitcoin, for example, which I think that this is something that we haven't really seen from anyone discussed publicly, which I'm very excited for this to actually become, a main thing that people are talking about, because I've been really arguing this point for a while on this channel, saying listen, they are trying to suppress and attack anything that threatens their power structures around the financial system. They want to eat all of those fees. They want to make sure that they're the ones in control. And we do see down here, some advocate tight control of cryptocurrencies to prevent their use by criminals, but it isn't just criminals who want privacy. So do dissidents and ordinary citizens. Governments harass their enemies and crush dissent by controlling bank accounts and payment platforms until we restore trust in government, a distant prospect. We need cash and crypto to ensure freedom. And yes, I do 100% agree with this. I think that we need cash and I think that we need crypto itself to thrive fully. I see a lot of these CBDC discussions. I don't like the idea of CBDCs. I've talked about it many times. If our government's fighting back this much against cryptocurrencies, and decentralized finance, what do you think that they are going to do with CBDCs? That's the big question, right? But we see just as a biodiverse ecosystem is a resilient ecosystem, so too will our economy be more resilient if it has a diverse ecology of currencies, not just a single centrally controlled one. We are seeing today how fragile our over-centralized system actually is. And yeah, I seriously love this take. I actually love the idea of this as well. You know, I think that we need more voices like this to come out. I mean, recently we've seen the congressional hearing with Gary Gensler, and I even said like Warren Davidson himself gives a lot of great viewpoints on exactly what's wrong with the SEC and Gary Gensler himself, which I loved. I respect that take and I respect that idea. But now we do see the bankers out in full force. So over here, we do see a US congressman just called every single Bitcoiner a tax evader. America really setting the stage with tech innovation. And here's Brad Sherman. We know him as being the biggest clown. And here we have Robert F. Kennedy Jr., like I said, individual that has been going out of his way to make sure that individuals understand just how large crypto will essentially become. But you see that he's speaking at the Bitcoin conference this year in Miami, which is very exciting, May 18th to the 20th. What do you see 60 years ago, the late great Robert F. Kennedy went after tax evaders as U.S. Attorney General. Today, his son is slated to speak at a conference for tax evaders. Like, this guy is such a joke, man. I've talked about Brad Sherman many times on this channel. If you actually take a step back and you look at this guy from a viewpoint, like, it's just so clear what he's fighting for. He's fighting for the bankers. And that's exactly what I've talked about even with the SEC and Gary Gensler and a lot of these people that come out and call, you know, crypto this, that, whatever. Like, here you have donors for his 2020 campaign. I mean, these are all major banking clients and major elite companies as well. Like, as you actually look at these donors, I wonder how much money actually went towards his campaign and instead into his pocket. Like, to me, this is the problem that we have in the US, is like, we have this country built upon this fake illusion that, oh, it's the land of the free. It's the land of opportunity. All of that is dead. And it died the second that we had these people have any sort of power over the people. The biggest issue that I see in this entire country is that you have these people that are working for the bankers. And these bankers are built upon, we've already talked about this, greed and control. When you have those two mixed together with suits, yeah, there's no more land of the free. There's no more land of opportunity. The elites are eating off the backs of those like you and me, and it is a big problem within the US. But we do see over here, soon, maybe, hopefully, we could finally see the SEC be held accountable for not only their actions, but also for all of their actions around crypto. We do see this is big. This is from Thinking Crypto 1. The US court orders the SEC to respond to Coinbase allegations within 10 days. This is actually a huge announcement. Very excited about this. But we do see the US court orders the SEC to respond to Coinbase allegations within 10 days. Coinbase last week argued that the SEC is providing insufficient regulatory guidance for US companies operating in the crypto sector. This is actually very big because this could change everything around crypto. And I've talked about it, like regulations could ultimately reshape this entire space. But we do see the US SEC has been ordered by a US court to respond to cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase's complaint over how it applies securities laws to digital assets. The Third Circuit Court of Appeals said in a Wednesday filing that the SEC must file its response within 10 days. Coinbase may then file response 7 days thereafter. And we do see down here that the crypto exchange referred to a 2022 petition asking for formal rulemaking within the digital assets sector, to which the SEC is yet to respond. The 10-day deadline ordered this week refers to the SEC's requirement to provide a legal basis for why it has not responded to the petition. So yeah, this is very big. I'm very excited about this. But we really need the SEC to speak on all of their actions, not just this one. Like, there's so many things that the SEC has fully ignored, completely avoided, and it is one of the biggest problems that I see within this space. So as we really kind of look at the SEC and we look at Gary Gensler, I think that this is a start. I think that the congressional hearing was a start as well. I think that we seen Gary Gensler completely flamed, but the problem is that we really didn't see him answer any questions. And that's like one of the biggest things that I've said around the SEC and Gary Gensler is just that there's no transparency, there's no accountability, and there's no answers to any of the questions that are asked. So when we actually look at what they're doing, they're just jumping around these questions. So to me, we need the SEC, instead of them to avoid these questions, answer to them. And I think that this is a great start to that. And then over here, we do see the SEC Gov pulled the rug out from under a planned definition of digital asset in its latest rulemaking today, saying it deleted the reference because the regulator is continuing to consider this term. So yeah, I thought this was very interesting as well to really include in this video, because this is exactly what we are talking about. You know, they want to say that like crypto has all of this transparency, clarity, there's rules already in place, there's everything in place, like we just need these companies to come in and register. But like they're making it so that you don't know what is a digital asset, you don't know what is a currency, you don't know what is a security, and none of it is transparent, none of it is clear. Like I don't understand how Gary Gensler can go on and speak about this and say, oh, the rules are clear, like this is clear, like everything is fine. Like, no, we know that this is not the case, because here you have them literally changing the labeling of digital assets. We do see the SEC was about to define digital asset, but deleted it in the final version of a rule, reversing a move that might have started formalizing crypto's role. And we do see a few quotes down here. So the commission and staff are continuing to consider this term and are not adopting digital assets as part of the rule at this time. And then down here, we do see DeFi itself. So the agency is certainly continuing to consider crypto matters, which have taken an outsized role in both its enforcement actions and its ongoing rule proposals, despite its decision to walk this one back. Last month, the regulator did virtually the opposite by reopening a previously proposed rule redefining the term exchange and explicitly adding decentralized finance to it. Again, like this is what I'm talking about. Like it's constant back and forth, right? Like one thing will be there, all right, it's another thing. Or all right, like they said one thing, all right, let's say another thing. Like this needs to stop. We can't have the SEC, which is an agency, a government agency, flip-flopping around this nascent asset class. This is such an infant asset class that could ultimately balloon to $100 trillion plus in market cap long term. I'm not saying that's going to happen overnight, but I do think that crypto is going to be very large. But the problem is that we need proper regulations. We can't have an agency flip-flopping around and, you know, not being able to make a decision. This is exactly why I do think that we need Congress to step in to make sure that the SEC and Gary Gensler are answering these, you know, hard-hitting questions, but also, you know, make sure that they are proposing frameworks. They're doing their job. They are actually putting the work and effort in, because so far as an agency, they have done zero work. There's zero work done. This entire asset class is still left without any sort of regulations, without any clarity. There's no frameworks to follow. There's no coming in and registering. There's just only coming in and getting attacked, because that's all they are doing. They're coming in, getting a feel for their business, and then, all right, they have the ammunition now to go after these projects. It's a big problem. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on. If you guys want more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. This is up to you all. Have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. That's been Nick. Peace out, guys.